So let's talk about another idea I've always wanted to do, but never really, I don't know, it's never really panned out. Like, I never really managed to pan it all the way out. As most with these story ideas, whenever I bring them up, it's like, oh, this is such a cool idea. And I have a few ideas for scenes and a general story. How do I play this all out? Fuck! That's kind of the problem. That's kind of the major problem here, is that, with all these story ideas, it sounds like, oh yeah, it sounds coherent, yeah, but when you put it in story form, you've got cool ideas for scenes, but it's pretty difficult. Writing's pretty difficult. Anyway, so with this story idea, as you can see, yeah, it's an idea that I've always had since I started watching Black Lagoon. Actually, ever since I started watching the anime Black Lagoon, this was like kind of like the #1 idea next to like Batman and Predator crossovers. This was like the other major idea I've always wanted to do, and that is Black Lagoon and Wolverine. Yeah, Black Lagoon. Now you may be thinking, Wolverine's not really a realistic character for him to, you know, encounter the characters from Black Lagoon. That can't be a real thing, right? Well, when you think about it, Black Lagoon is very much like another place that Wolverine has been, you know, a haunt to, and that's Madripoor. Madripoor, if you don't know what that is, it's kind of like, if you've seen the anime Black Lagoon, it's pretty much Roanapur, but a lot more corrupt. Actually, no, it's a more gussied up version of, where Roanapur's a giant shithole. Madripoor is a lot more gussied up, but it's still a horrible, horrible place to live. It's Roanapur. It's, as it's called in the comics, a cesspool with style. That's kind of how it is. And Wolverine, and that's one of Wolverine's favorite places to hang out. That's kind of where he was when he took on the identity of Patch, and that's also where he met one of his great loves, Tiger, who's kind of like the boss of the underworld of and every criminal organization in Madripoor. So in this story of Wolverine and Black Lagoon, the general idea is that Madripoor and Roanapur are about to have a big gang war. Like, there's a gang war between the two cities. Tiger wants to move in on the operations in Roanapur, and Balalaika and the rest of Hotel Moscow ain't having that shit. So Wolverine, at this point, yeah, Wolverine and Tiger would have gone ways, but Tiger and Logan do have a deep connection. They do still care about one another. But yeah. So in this story, Tiger more or less asks Logan, hey, I'm going to be launching an attack, Roanapur and everyone in there is going to be, going to war with Madripoor. It's going to be bloody. Can you at least give me a hand in stopping this? The thing with Tiger is that while she is a very violent and dangerous crime lord, she's actually, she's got some rules. And I think she would want, the main thing of why she wants Roanapur for herself is so she can take control, because Roanapur is out of control. It is a goddamn nightmare. So if she could take over and rule both Madripoor and Roanapur, then she would actually have a lot more control. She could actually, make the city look well, but still have that criminal element. But of course, Hotel Moscow and of their leader Balalaika likes their little shithole. And they're not going to let anyone take that little shithole. So, of course, a gang war's brewing, and Wolverine and Logan, and poor Logan's going to be caught in the middle of it. You know who else is caught in the middle of this? The Lagoon Company. So, of course, Wolverine meets the Lagoon Company, and it probably wouldn't be the best one yet. And I'm pretty sure Revy putting a bullet through Logan would probably end up with... it wouldn't turn out well for Revy. It wouldn't necessarily turn out well for Revy in the least. That's the big thing, is that... I would like to see them, Wolverine, that's the other big crux of this story, is that I just like to see Logan and Revy hang out. Like, them share a cigar, or have a beer together, or Wolverine just cutting down people in the Yellowtail bar. Just imagine that scene where he just, Wolverine just walks right in, out of costume, he's got the leather jacket on, he just asks for a beer, and one guy, this big fat motherfucker, just comes in and is like, hey, shorty, that's my seat. I see your name on it, bub. And then, of course, the guy tries to go for him, and then Wolverine just pops the claws and just guts him right there. So, yeah. Yeah, so obviously they wouldn't have any idea how to deal with a superpowered element, So in the story, I would have that Hotel Moscow, knowing that they're now dealing with an X-Man and an Avenger, a guy who's willing to kill, in fact, one of the most dangerous mutants out there, they decide, you know what, we need help on this. We're not the type of people to ask for superpowered help, and I would have that Roanapur's been trying to keep supervillain elements and superpowered elements out of Roanapur because they don't want to deal with that shit. They've seen what happens in the outside world, where, they've seen the events of Civil War, what happened with the Hulk in World War Hulk, and of course they survived the Skrull invasion. So, what I'd have it is that Bela-Lyka and the other crime lords of Roanapur have been very, someone in spandex, shoot them. So they've been they've been managed to keep everyone out, but now that Wolverine's here, it's only a matter of time before, well, shit, more gonna come, unless we put a stop to this right now. So Bela-Lyka reaches out to who else? The only other Russian who's managed to, do some damage on Logan, Omega Red. Yeah, Omega Red is hired by Bela-Lyka to be a member of Hotel Moscow to take out Wolverine. Tiger can bring in Wolverine. I can use Omega Red. that's kind of Bela-Lyka's train of thought. So yeah, Omega Red would be a big villain here. I would have it that he'd even though he works for Bela-Lyka, it's more like, yeah, I'm working for you now, but bitch, you're gonna be working for me soon. Yeah. So that's the big thing with having Wolverine, Omega Red. It's a total bloodbath. So yeah, that's kind of the idea. Like, I'd like to have another few other things, like Wolverine had a past romance with Shenhua. Yeah, that was another thing I wanted to put in here, that Wolverine and Shenhua were a thing, and by thing, he fucked her in the back of an alley. That was kind of the only thing they had. But he was romantic about it, at least. But yeah, I'd just like to see, that's the big thing with this story, is that, Roanapur's not much different from Mandrapore. That's the big thing of this story, is that Mandrapore and Roanapur are very similar. So with Wolverine fits right into this kind of universe. Even though he's the only one with superpowers, he's still a type of character who you could see him in some weird way in this universe. You can still see him as part of it, because he's a killer and he's worked in this kind of shady, bloody underbelly before. So, in a weird way, it does kind of make sense, and I'm surprised, I've looked on fanfiction, I've looked on other places, I'm kind of surprised no one's ever thought of, having Wolverine and Roanapur. It just kind of makes sense. Anyway, so that's kind of the idea in a nutshell, really, and I did have the inklings for another, I've kind of written this one on the Marvel fanfiction site I'm a part of, called Marvel 2K14, which is a site that Mount Vernon Kid created and me and a few other people work on, and I'm very, very behind on my work there. Sorry, Chris. Anyway, but in that one, it's more or less, I guess I could talk about this one a little bit. In that one, Wolverine and Roberta have a past. Not romantic, but Wolverine basically was nearly killed by Roberta years ago, and now this new person called La Sombra has forced Wolverine to hunt down Roberta to kill her for her own, for La Sombra's own reasons, or they're going to kill Wolverine's adopted daughter, Amiko Kobayashi. If you know who she is, she was a lot in the Wolverine stuff in Japan. And yeah, she's being raised by Yuriko. So yeah, they're gonna kill Amiko if Wolverine doesn't do this. So yeah, Wolverine has to hunt down Roberta and kill her, even though she didn't have a healing factor. She nearly killed him the last time they fought. So that's kind of the thing, is that the Bloodhound of Florencia and Wolverine kind of duke it out. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of the other story. I should eventually get back to writing that one. The more I think about it, I really need to get back to writing that one. Anyway, so that's I've always wanted to write the first one. It's always been like I've had cool ideas for scenes and and a general plot, But it's a lot harder than you think, you know. Oh yeah, that's the big thing I've talked about a lot with these fan fiction ideas is that, oh yeah, it's a fucking cool idea, I can't wait to do it. And then when you finally get around to finally writing this story, you're like, how the fuck do I do this? What the fuck am I doing? That's kind of the big thing with a lot of these with a lot of these story ideas. When I talk about them, it's just like, how the fuck do I do this? Yeah. So anyway, you guys tell me, what do you guys think of this idea? Do you guys like it? Do you guys hate it? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.